Hello, and welcome to a special acquisitions episode of the Knit and Grace podcast. Hello, and welcome back if you are a returning viewer. If you are new here, my name is Mia, and I am the maker behind Knit and Grace. And today I bring you part 2 to the monthly podcast episode. If you haven't already watched last week's episode, I'll go ahead and link it up above. But I did mention that I would be having a special episode just going over acquisitions for the month, as well as some knitting updates, which will come toward the end of today's podcast. So, so if acquisitions aren't your thing, but you do want some updates on my knitting plans and sort of where I am with my knitting goals so far this year, I will have the timestamp so you can skip around if you want to skip the acquisitions portion of the episode. But I do have quite a few things to share with you today, so I guess we can go ahead and jump right in with the elephant in the room, which was one of my Maryland sheep and wool purchases, or rather my husband's purchase for me, which is my spinning wheel, which is right here. And so this is my brand new spinning wheel. She hasn't gotten tons and tons of use yet. I have been sort of tinkering with her a little bit since we got back from Maryland, but June was a little bit crazy of a month. But in case you don't know the story, my husband surprised me with a trip to Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival this year, and the primary goal of the trip was to pick up this spinning wheel that he gifted me as an early birthday gift. And so the spinning wheel that I got is the Lendrum original double treadle. So it is a double treadle spinning wheel, and we got the complete package, which just means that it has like all of the extra add-ons, which includes like the Lazy Kate and extra bobbins and things like that. So I'm really, really excited about the spinning wheel and really excited to hopefully over the next few months start sharing my spinning journey with you all. But I did pick up a few other things while we were there, which I'm going to share with you today. And they all fit in this nice big bag that I got from Kelborn Woolens. And so all of my purchases fit nicely in here. I mean, like, this is a massive bag. Like, it's huge. So don't be fooled. I did get a few things, but in terms of yarn purchases, I was pretty good. But I did get some fiber. So in terms of, I guess I'll start with the fiber because it's what's sprayed on top in the bag. Because I'm sort of brand new to the entire spinning journey and all of that, I did want to get some very just plain starter fiber to start. And so I did pick up some fiber at the stall where my husband purchased the wheel, which I believe it's like Susan's something. I'll insert their information below in case you want to take a look at their website. But I did pick up, I'm going to say 4 ounces. Yeah, so I have 4 ounces each of 2 colors worth of merino. And so this is what they look like. It's just a nice pink lavendery color and just an undyed natural. And so these are 100% merino and 4 ounces worth. So we will see what I end up spinning up or how I end up spinning these up. I'm sure it'll be a disaster once I actually get past the practicing stage. Okay, I had to get closer. I felt like I was like 1,000 years away from the camera. But I also picked up this beautiful fiber from a shop called Into the World. And ironically enough, they actually are located very close to my sister's house in the Catskills, but they don't have a brick and mortar shop. But I picked up, this is kind of like, I don't know when I'm gonna spin this fiber because it's just so beautiful and so luxurious, but I just loved the colors. And so this is a 70-15-15% merino yak silk, and it is in the color mirepoix. So it is 4 ounces of this hand-dyed fiber from Into the World. And so I don't want to take it out of the bag just because I don't know that I would be able to get it back in there nicely in there, but picked up some of that as well. So let's see what's next in my little bag of tricks here. I did pick up a nitty knotty. So I don't remember. Oh, here we go. This is a Kromsky nitty knotty. And so this is what it looks like. So once I start spinning up my fiber, I can hank it properly. And I think, yeah, that's it when it comes to my fiber purchases. So when I went to Maryland Sheep and Wool, I did go with the intention of not buying too much yarn because I have stash down goals, which, surprise, surprise, I kind of went a little nuts in the month of June. But at the time I was very cognizant of my stash down goals and also just my knitting responsibilities at the time. So I went with the intention of picking up yarn for the vintage Lopi that I tested and I'm still working through for Heather Nolan that I spoke to in last week's episode. And then I also did pick up a little bit of summer yarn while I was there. So as I mentioned, I stopped by the Kelborn Woolen booth. I know Courtney and Kate for many, many years now. And so while I was there, I was chatting them up, and, of course, as you are catching up, you just catch up, and then I'm like, well, I'm here. I'm gonna buy some yarn, and so I ended up making 2 yarn purchases while I was there. So the first purchase that I made was, or the first, I guess, line of their yarn, it was all one purchase, was the Lucky Tweed. And so this is just a beautiful tweed base of theirs. It is 100% merino, and it is genuine Donegal fiber, so it is made in Ireland. And let's see, did I say that right? I'm pretty sure it's 100% merino. Yes, 100% merino. And so this is a worsted Aran weight yarn. It's 210 yards or 190 meters per 100 grams. And so I picked up 3 colors. I do have my 3rd color caked up already because I already started the vintage Lopi, and I only needed 1 skein of the 3rd color, and for some reason I can't find my cake anywhere. I think it's downstairs somewhere, but I got 3 colors, and so these 2 that you see here are medium gray and black, and then I also got a beautiful cream, which I will insert a picture of here so you can see what that looks like. And so that is the Lucky Tweed. And then while I was looking around their stall, I was looking at some of their yarns to see which ones I haven't knit with yet, and seeing that it is summer, I was talking to Kate, and she recommended picking up some Mojave, which is their 60% cotton, 40% linen. And so that's what it looks like. There we go. And so this is the color mauve. And so I picked up 3 skeins of this one to make a summer ranunculus. And so this is a fingering weight yarn. Is it fingering weight? Yeah, it's fingering weight. It is 185 yards or 170 meters to 50 grams. So it's like a sport weight, heavy fingering. And yeah, so I'm really excited to knit up a summer weight ranunculus in this one, since my current ranunculus is more of like a spring fall garment. So I'm really excited to have one for the summer. So as I was just finishing up going over my Maryland sheep and wool purchases, and that's pretty much it. No, yeah, that is it. I realized that I haven't shared with you what I'm wearing today. And this is a super freshly finished object. I just finished it on Monday night. I think it was Monday night. And I have been wearing it ever since. And it is not even blocked, and I don't care. But this is the Parnell that I spoke about in last week's episode. So you all saw this when it just needed sleeves. So this is what it looks like. And I will go ahead and insert a picture for you all here. And I think that that is going to take me nicely into my Woolyknit order. So I'm sure that all of you follow Rebecca of the Creabea, and when she posted that she was having a summer comb long with Woolyknit and had a discount code for their cotton, I took advantage of the discount code and ordered 3 cotton cones, which I have now used 2 of for just summer knitting because I wanted to try it out. It's 100% cotton. She spoke very highly of it on her last podcast episode, and so I wanted to go ahead and give it a try since there was a coupon available. So I have what is 2 cones and a leftover to show you all, but this is what I have. This was my order. And as you can see, they're very summery colors. They all go really well together. And so this color is cream, this color is mustard, and then the blue is navy blue. And these are the 3 cones that I purchased. So the cream was the main color for the parnell that I'm wearing today, and I used up almost a pretty good amount of the cone. So these are 400-gram cones, if you don't know. So they're 400 grams, and they are fingering weight, or light fingering weight, I should say. And so of the cream color, I only had 75 grams left after I finished the parnell. So I'm thinking that I will probably use this in like a little striped summer project, either with some leftovers, probably with some leftovers of these other 2 colors. So of the navy blue, I used about 100 grams. So I have 300 grams here left, which I will share with you what I have planned for that. And then I have the full 400 grams of the mustard yellow. So that was my Woolyknit order. Okay, so I'm not sure if I mentioned, but the Woolyknit order I did place in June, and then I did place another pretty large yarn order in June from Woollentwine as well. And so this is the large box that order came in. I think this was like the biggest order that I've ever placed from Eula, and I was just like, wow, this is a big box. And I took all of the packaging, like, there you go, this is her little packing sticker at the top. I removed all of the packing stuff so y'all wouldn't see my address and how much I spent on this yarn. But let's go ahead and open it up. And so, as always, we have Eula's card in the box. And then I'll show you the 3 yarns that are right on top. So, the May collection, she had quite a bit of yarn available, and I was really excited about. And so I'll show you first the 2 skeins of Corriedale sock that I picked up. And so this is her sock base, 100% non-superwash. And these are the 2 colors that I got. The light pink is called Ballerina, and then the orangey color is called Grenadine. and I just absolutely fell in love with these colors. So with the ballerina, I plan on making a shawl with some leftover drops kid mohair that I have from a test knit that I did last year. So I have about 2 balls of it left. So paired with this one, I'm gonna make a little shawl for the fall, so I'm really excited. And then the grenadine will ultimately just end up being a pair of socks. I just fell in love with the color, and I thought that they would make a really lovely pair of like lacy socks. And then I picked up 2 more skeins of the Cloud Silk Mohair. And I only have one to show you here because my cats got one when I wasn't paying attention and made off with it. Luckily, it's not like completely ruined, but they did like sort of take it apart a bit. So I have to actually cake it up. So it's just laying very gently on my studio desk so that I can go ahead and wind it up. Which is like so strange. My cats don't normally go for my yarn, and I was just like not paying attention, and it was actually pretty high up, but they somehow got to it and, you know, were able to open the hank. But yeah, so this is the Cloud Silk Mohair, and it's in the color Brown Bear. And so you may recall a few podcast episodes ago that I'd also picked up 2 hanks of the color Oak. But I found that that color was a little light for the yarn that I want to pair it with to make the shawl that I have intended that I purchased this mohair for. So I got the Brown Bear, which actually is a much better fit color-wise. So I will be holding that double with an unspun yarn to make a shawl later this fall. And so then the reason why the bag is so big is, or the box is so big rather, is because I got 2 bags of millens. So there's going to be a little bit of crinkle. So this is what the Millen bags look like. It's just a nice big bag, and then it still has the label, and then it tells you what the color is. And so I got 2 of these, so 500 grams each. So these are 500 grams, and they're Millen, so they're not like the nicely sort of prepared 100-gram skeins that she has available. But because they're Millens, you know, they're bagged up, you do get a little bit of a discount. So I got 1 bag of each color, and the reason for that is because I plan on making a colorwork sweater out of both of them, and then my contrast color I'm going to make a shawl out of in the fall. So the 2 colors are barley and malt, and what I'll go ahead and do is I'll go ahead and open them and then show you what those 2 colors look like. And so I'm not sure if I have already mentioned what this yarn is, but this is Eula's Unspun Yarn Thrive. And yeah, so I got 2 bags of both colors for the May collection. And so this light color here is called Barley, and this dark color here is called Malt. And these colors are just absolutely stunning. And it's just like every single time I purchase from Eula, I just like, you know, I fell in love with the colors, and, you know, she has her colorway previews and all of that, but like they're just so much nicer in person. And so yeah, her Unspun is a pretty stable blend, so it's really nice to use held single. And that is what I plan on doing for both of the projects. Oh, it looks like there's a little bit in here. So that's what it looks like. So yeah, so I plan to make both a colorwork sweater as well as a shawl from the 1,000 grams or 1 kilo of yarn that I have. I always wonder because when I track my packages, I can see like where it comes through the ISC center in I think JFK, and my husband and I have watched documentaries about the custom center and you know how they like find crazy things in the mail and like all that kind of stuff, and I'm just like at the sort of rate that I have been placing like extremely large purchases of yarn of like 1 kilo or more over the past just several months, I'm just like, I wonder if they've flagged me. Like, how much yarn is this person like bringing into the country in like 1 kilo boxes? So anyway, that's just like a fun fact. Whenever I track everything, I'm just like, oh, it's in customs. I wonder if they're gonna find me out now. But no, there's nothing to find out. It's literally just yarn, and I have a yarn purchasing problem. So there's that. Okay, so those are all of my recent yarn purchases. And if you watched my sort of 2023 goals video, you might be wondering to yourself, Mia, I thought you were planning on stashing down this year. What happened to that plan and goal? And yeah, I mean, it is what it is. You know, it's just, it is what it is. And I have managed to actually pull all of my totals year to date. I haven't been very good about putting them at the end of my videos, which I will try to do much better or be much better about in my next few months podcast specifically. And I'll let you know why in a second. But I did put together all of my yarn numbers for 2023. So as far as yarn coming into my home, in terms of weight, I have acquired 7,275 grams of yarn, which is a lot, 7 kilos. And that equates to approximately 27,865 yards. That is a lot of yarn that has come into my home. That said, I will say I have knit quite a bit, and so this is only counting completely finished objects. So this isn't counting any whips that I currently have on the needles. But in terms of, oh, this is also counting any, how do I say it, any like destashed yarn. So any yarn that I've destashed has also been added to the out, although I haven't destashed tons. But in terms of yarn that has left my home or has been worked up, that is going to be 3,983 grams, so almost 4,000 grams. And that's a total of 13,913 yards of yarn that has either left my home or that has been worked up. So the net positive is that I'm in the hole. So because I wanted to actually stash down, I have actually added to my stash. So I'm in the hole 3,292 grams or 13,953 yards of yarn that I have actually added to my stash. So that's a lot, especially considering that my goal for the year was a stash down of 2,023 grams of yarn. So that leads me to a sort of little challenge that I am setting for myself, and that is going to be a good old-fashioned yarn ban. So from here until Rhinebeck, so as you all may know, I am planning on going to Rhinebeck this year, and that's in October. So from here until October, I am not able to add any more yarn to my stash, with one exception. And technically it's not going to be adding yarn to my stash. It's actually, I need to purchase yarn for a test knit and also actually a video that I have planned for you all here on the channel that's going to debut in the fall. So I need to purchase yarn for that. So I'm going to have a little bit of a cowl going, and that's going to be part of that whole process. So I'm really excited to announce more on that one next month. But I will be purchasing yarn for that specific project. But again, it'll be yarn for a specific project, and it'll just be the amount of yarn that I need. Otherwise, no yarn purchasing. So if I want to sign up for a test knit, it has to be using yarn I already have. Otherwise, it's just 100% stashing down, knitting up my stash for the rest of the summer. So from today, that is June 10th, until I believe it's October 22nd, is the weekend of Rhinebeck. No more yarn will enter my house. So you might be asking yourself, Mia, how are you going to get back on track with your knitting goals for this year, or your stash down goals for this year? And that will lead me to the last part of today's video, which is my summer knitting plans. Now, I will say that these summer knitting plans are quite aggressive. And part of that is that I realized Rhinebeck, I have 3 full months of knitting and 2 half months, so technically 4 months, but let's just say 3 full months of knitting left before Rhinebeck, and I haven't started a single one of my Rhinebeck sweaters. Not only that, but I actually plan on attending Woollenfolk this year, so I will be at Rhinebeck or in the area all 3 days, so that means that I need more sweaters than I normally do. And then we have some activities that are planned throughout the weekend. A group of us are looking to do a few other things. So I need, and the group of people that I'm going to be with are like sweater knitting goals. So I definitely need to step it up. So my plans are a little aggressive, but I will tell you sort of where my reasoning is for these plans. So thinking of this as being from July until the end of September. And again, I have like the next 2 weeks of June as a buffer and the first 2 weeks of October as a buffer here. So this is where, this time frame is where I'm planning on finishing 7 projects. Yes, 7. That's a lot, I know. But let me tell you what those projects are, and then hopefully maybe you won't think that I'm as crazy as some of my other friends do, but I am crazy. This is aggressive, and I don't know that I'm going to get to it all, but you know, shoot for the stars and you'll land in the clouds, right? So kind of thing. Is that the phrase? That is what we're doing. So the first project that I have is a knitting commitment, and that is a preview knit for Isolde Teague and of a cowl. And so this preview knit I think is due by the middle of July. But I'm planning on starting this off as my commuting project starting this week. And so I sort of have categorized these projects as my knitting projects and my like sweater at home projects. And so I'll explain a little bit more and you'll sort of understand why when I share the other projects with you. So in terms of knitting time while commuting during the week, I get 4 hours a week of knitting time with my commute. So my commute is about an hour and 15 to an hour and a half each way. And I commute into the city twice a week. So that means 4 hours, 4 solid hours of knitting time. So in the 4 hours of knitting time that I get a week, I am planning on finishing this cowl, which again is a preview knit. And then that is when I'm going to focus on my summer knitting, because that's lightweight and small projects that you can really take with you, are very portable. So the three projects that I'm planning on working up are, firstly, the ranunculus, and so that's going to use up the Mojave that I purchased at Maryland Sheep and Wool from Kelburn Woolens. Then I'm going to knit up another tenya. So as you all know, I love my tenya that I have now. I knit that one up in Barocco Remix Light several years ago, or several summers ago. So I think it's high time that I knit another one. And I am going to knit that one up in the Woolyknit cotton cone in the yellow cone. And then lastly, I spotted, as I followed Kadri online, I see that she has a summer tank top pattern that's coming out in July as well. And so I am going to knit the rest of the navy blue cotton cone from Woolyknit, that pattern, and that pattern is called Avani. And so those are the three summer knitting patterns that I plan on knitting for the rest of the summer. And I think that should pretty much take me through to the rest of the summer with regards to my summer needs. Then I have my 3 Rhinebeck sweaters. So, these 3 I'm calling my Rhinebeck sweaters because they're like my big oversized sweaters. If you have been to Rhinebeck, or if you're in this area of the world, you know that the weather that weekend can be very unpredictable from day to day, or just from weekend to weekend. I've gone to Rhinebeck times where it's 80 degrees the day that we're there, and then I've gone to Rhinebeck times that it's like 50 degrees and raining the entire time that we're there. So the weather can be really unpredictable, so I'm planning on packing these 3 sweaters, and then of course, you know, I will pack whatever else it is that I pack for layering and things like that. But I have 2 colorwork sweaters in mind. So the first sweater I have mentioned in previous podcast episodes when I acquired the yarn for the sweater, which is Fernwood by Tanya Barley. And this is just a beautiful colorwork yoke sweater, and yeah, I'm really excited to knit this one up. I think this will be a good, again, at-home knit, because until I get through the colorwork section, it'll be nice and like keep me occupied while I'm watching TV or whatnot. And then once I get to the rounds of stockinette, it'll be good meeting knitting. So whenever I have long meetings or anything like that, I can knit that one up. And then the second sweater that I have, which is what I'm going to be knitting with the 2 colors of the Woollentwine Thrive, so these 2. And this is completely copying Eula of Woollentwine, because this is the sample that she actually knit with these 2, and it is the Tuku sweater by the Petite Knitter. And so I'm gonna plan on knitting that up as well. And so I will be using the malt, which is the brown, as my main color, and the barley, which is the light beige, as my contrast color. So that will take care of that yarn that has recently come into my life. And then last but not least, the test knit that I alluded to, I signed up for the Tendril test knit from Sophie of the Knit Pearl Girl. And that one is a really nice, long, relaxed test knit. It's going through October 22nd. And so that will be my 3rd Rhinebeck sweater. And so that one is just a simple drop shoulder pullover with some really beautiful detail on the shoulders. And so it's just one color, and that is what I will be working on toward the end of the summer, when I'm going to have a little cowl for you all here on the channel as well. So those are all of my summer knitting plans, and I'm hoping that these summer knitting plans put me back in the positive when it comes to my stash down goals, aka negative, because I want to make sure that at the end of the year I have knit more yarn than I have introduced back into my house. And I think that if I do stick to my summer plans and I stick to my Rhinebeck plans, I should be able to still achieve that. I might not be able to achieve it to the degree that I had originally planned on, but I do have very small Rhinebeck aspirations because obviously I have way too much yarn, and then also I really do need to get serious about the stashing down, because we will be making some major moves next year in 2024, that I have to start getting ready for. So very big fun plans for the rest of the year. So as always, I hope that you enjoyed today's content, albeit a slightly different video from my normal video, very acquisitions heavy, but this will probably make up for the fact that I will literally not have any acquisitions for the next 4 months. So, you can come back and watch this video if you ever want to look at my crazy yarn stash and make yourself feel better about your yarn stash. But yeah, if you like the video, please do all the things, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. All of these things help me grow my channel, and be able to put out these videos for you all. If you have not caught up last week's episode, which is technically part 1, definitely go ahead and do that. And in that episode, I also will talk through the schedule for the rest of the month, so I will have a video every week for you all, so it's very exciting. And yeah, I hope that you are enjoying the weekend. If you are in the northern hemisphere, hope you're enjoying the weather, although we had a bit of crazy weather here this week. I'm in the greater New York area, so we had the smog issues with the Canadian wildfires, but the weather today is absolutely lovely, and it's supposed to be lovely tomorrow as well when you all are seeing this. And if you're in the southern hemisphere, I hope that you are cozying up and getting ready for winter, or I should say you're in the fall, yes, you're getting ready for winter. And I will leave you there until next time. I hope you're doing well, and I will see you in the next one.